Thank you so much for joining United Way of Buffalo and Erie County for our annual report to the community. We are really excited to see all of you here today. This is a webinar event, so only our panelists will be visible today over video. We have myself, Jennifer Owen, as well as Bernie Miltenberger keeping an eye on the chat box. So if you have any technical issues or something's going on in the background, please alert us there in the chat. This event is being recorded and it will be posted to our YouTube channel after the event. So if there's anything you want to look back on, you'll have the ability to do that. We will also have a Q&A session at the end of today's formal remarks. So you'll use that Q&A tool at the bottom of your screen to submit any questions that you might have for our panelists today. Something comes up in your mind while we're talking, go ahead and pop it in there, and we'll make sure that we address it at the end. So now I am delighted to introduce our speakers for today. We have Jamie Ferrullo, 2021 United Way Campaign Co-Chair. We do also have here in the back of the house, Tina Stenhouse, our other 2021 United Way Campaign Co-Chair. We have Michael Weiner, President and CEO of United Way of Buffalo and Erie County, and Trina Burris, Chief Operating Officer of United Way in Buffalo and Erie County. So with that, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, and Jamie, I'm gonna hand it over to you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Jen. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us this afternoon for our annual report to the community. As Jen mentioned, my name is Jamie Ferrullo. I am the Executive Director and Buffalo Campus Leader here at Ingram Micro, and I am beyond thrilled and humbled to be able to co-chair this year's campaign drive with Dr. Thomasina Stenhouse. Our United Way has always been focused on helping the most vulnerable in Buffalo and Erie County, working to close the divide in health, financial stability, and education. The last 20 months has revealed many things about the challenges and inequities that exist within our community. The world does not always feel like a very united place. But times like these are what the United Way was made for, bringing people, organizations, and resources together to tackle our community's toughest challenges is what we are built to do. It is important that we take time to reflect, to celebrate progress, and that we look to the future and the innovative solutions that United Way is working on today to build a stronger and more equitable community for tomorrow. We're glad you are here today to be a part of this program, and we hope you will walk away and both be informed and inspired. And now I would like to introduce Michael Weiner, President and CEO of the United Way, to share an update on our work to help reimagine and rebuild a Buffalo and Erie County where more people can thrive. Michael, over to you.
Thank you, Jamie, and I'm already inspired. And I want to thank you and Tina for your leadership this year as our campaign co-chairs. Really very much appreciate it, and we need your help now more than ever. And I also I want to be thankful of Jen and all the work that she's done in coordinating this event. And we have lots of people on this call, on this webinar. We're really excited about that as well. And finally, I'd be remiss if I don't call out Trina, our new Chief Operating Officer, who's got 103 days on the job, I think. And we're really excited about having Trina not only learn the ropes of what's going on here at the United Way, but helping us shape and reimagine the future. So thank you, Trina. So let me start, with some perspective. A year ago at this time, we did the last report to the community. We could not have imagined the extent to which the pandemic would affect our community. Nor could we imagine how long we would be continuing to deal with the disruption that COVID-19 has caused for individuals and families, workplaces, schools, and our overall day-to-day lives and routines. But in a time when so much in our world is changing, United Way is here to help ensure that everyone has the opportunity to rebuild their lives and reimagine what is possible for the future. So one important barometer that we use for community needs is represented by the volume and the nature of calls to our Health and Human Services hotline, what's commonly referred to as 211 Western New York. It's an information and referral call center, and it's operated by VIA, Visually Impaired Advancement. And I hope Kelly and Tammy are on the call today. To give you an idea of the scale of the service, from September 1, 2020 through August 31, 2021, Over 75,000 requests for help were received. It's safe to say 211 West New York has played a vital role in helping connect citizens with COVID-related resources such as testing, vaccines, rental and housing assistance, and other forms of critical relief, such as food access and behavioral health services, to mention a few. United Way supports 211 West New York, not only through our investments process, but we're also doing this work through advocacy efforts. And I'm proud to report that last year, with the partnership of the United Way Network, we successfully advocated through the New York State Legislature and the Governor's Office to provide $2 million in 211 funding support this current year. That's a $750,000 increase from the prior year in support of 8 New York State regional call centers. And recently, we have begun conversations with elected leaders to maintain current funding while also adding funds for the development of a statewide resource database and enhanced emergency response capacity within each of these call centers. So fingers crossed on that one. Over the past year, United Way has continued our support of the not-for-profit sector as well in responding to COVID-19 through the coordination of in-kind donations to numerous not-for-profit organizations. Critical items we help provide to local not-for-profits and their clients include medical supplies, cleaning supplies, hand sanitizers, food, water, personal care items, and much more. And I'm also very happy to report that we helped coordinate the distribution of over 27,000 masks donated by Ford Motor Company. This is just some of the things that we've done in support of the not-for-profit sector. But as you can appreciate, public policy advocacy is also a powerful tool for change and for supporting those in a community who need it the most. In partnership with United Way Worldwide Network, we actively engaged in advocacy efforts that included critical federal public policy funding in the American Rescue Act, which was passed in March of 2021. This included increasing the child tax credit and instituting monthly payments to help families with budgeting throughout the year. Also expanding earned income tax credit eligibility and increasing the maximum annual credit. In addition, $510 million was allocated to the Emergency Food and Shelter Grant Program to help provide overnight shelter, meals, and month's rent or mortgage assistance and 1 month's utility payments. And I was very happy to see that we received over $540,000 of that fund to allocate locally through our Emergency Food and Shelter Program initiative that we manage on behalf of the county. And finally, expanded emergency nutritional assistance for Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program recipients. Our work in this area is not done. In fact, on November 1st, we launched a new Vote a Voice advocacy campaign to enlist our community's help in advocating for bold, long-term, and equitable solutions to support and strengthen our community. Look for more information on social media channels about how you can add your voice to this effort. Something that we know we will continue to do this process in rebuilding in response to COVID is that the pandemic disproportionately impacts those who were already vulnerable in our community, including those who have long been marginalized through structural racism, ethnic discrimination, and other forms of systemic oppression. Moving forward, the United Way has made a commitment to ensuring that our policies, practices, and distribution of resources address these inequities so that all members of our community thrive. To really give you more insights and talk more about these activities, I'm pleased to introduce our Chief Operating Officer, Trina Buros, who will take forward this opportunity to talk about those activities. Trina?
Thank you so much, Michael, and thank you so much for reminding me that I'm at 103 days. It's been a whirlwind, and I will tell you that, whenever you are thinking about making a change such that I did, it is critically important that where you land is a great place. And I'm happy to report to the community that that is true, factually true, that I've landed in a great place, and I'm pleased to be here with you tonight. But my charge right now is to talk more about our efforts as it relates to diversity, equity, and inclusion. As many of you, our organization is also looking at ways in which we can go on this DEI journey, not only internally, but also externally in the community. We are very focused, and we understand that diversity, equity, and inclusion is truly at the heart of what it means for us to live united. So we're really making a concerted effort, an intentional effort to sort of walk the talk, I think that's the saying. We know that we cannot achieve our mission of systemic community change if it is that this is not at our focus. In 2020, July specifically, the members of the United Way Worldwide team approved new membership requirements that were focused on racial equity and tackling ethnic discrimination as part of our membership in the United Way Worldwide Network. And our commitment with advancing equity, United Way Buffalo and Erie County has taken the following steps that I want to talk to you about at this point. We published in our official equity and anti-racism statement, which can be found on our website. We have begun to provide annual racial equity training for all United Way staff and board members. And not only have we provided the training, but we're also requiring it, which I think is an important distinction, that we are requiring this if you are going to be in affiliation with the United Way. Beginning with our most recent RFP for the 2022-2024 funding, we have refined our community impact investment guidelines to address desperate outcomes related to racial and ethnic inequity, and to create a more inclusive application process. And I'll talk a little bit about that in depth a little further down. We formed a board-led diversity, equity, and inclusion committee, which is led by our board member, Kendra Brim. And internally, I am supporting Kendra in these efforts. It includes key internal and external stakeholders in order to really bring a lot of diversity of thought. When we talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, it is not always just about the boxes that are checked on the census, if you will. It is really about bringing that differentiator of life experiences in order to have everyone's voice be heard. In June of 2021, we launched our 21-day racial equity challenge. Hopefully many of you on this call are familiar with it. If you're not, however, I'll tell you a little bit about it. The goal of the challenge is to strengthen awareness and give enough information over a 21-day period of bite-sized information, enough to provoke thought and action and the efforts around social justice habits and racial equity, power, privilege, and leadership. This is an initiative that's available all year round. So if you have not had an opportunity to take part, please go to our website and begin the challenge. United Way worked with 60 community partners to propose, vet, and select the content for the challenge. And we're happy to say that at this point, we've had over 2,500 people to register and participate in the challenge to date. The challenge is ongoing, as I said, and we are hoping that everyone will take an opportunity to view the content. Now, let me go back. A little bit ago, I talked about the investment process. As you know, the application process closed on October 29th. The release represents some tangible steps, intentional things that we did, putting an equity lens on the work that we're doing. And so what you probably observed if you saw the application was an emphasis on the disparate outcomes reflected in our application focus areas and those descriptions associated with them. The document itself was more inclusive, and it included a glossary of terms, a transparent scoring rubric, a reduction in the number of scored items, and a user-friendly layout that was built to be easily understood. We also broadened our outreach to make sure we invited a more diverse group of applicants to our funding, and we can tell you we believe that that goal was achieved. This RFP also represents a milestone in advancing the 2020 strategic plan and our transformation into a more agile organization. In a highly competitive landscape, we're maximizing our effectiveness and our value and refining our impact focus areas. These focus areas are still based in our understanding of the community needs. United Way's role is still to identify gaps and work to fill them. But to be the best possible stewards of resources and have the greatest impact, we are honing our focus areas to those that we have the most expertise. And finally, we have clearly defined goals within those 7 focus areas to give us stakes in the ground for defining scope of work and measuring success. In spite of all that has shifted around us, and as we all know, it's been many, many things, health, education, financial stability still remain the cornerstones of a good life. Each of these aspects of life are critical to building a strong and a thriving community for everyone. That is why we have committed to helping all of our neighbors, especially those most impacted by COVID-19 and structural inequities, by providing programs and services that are dedicated to increasing access and support in these 3 critical areas of life. We know that this work requires resources, so I'm going to send it back to Mike, my boss, to talk a little bit more about the resources that are needed.
Thank you, Trina. And it's evident from your testimonial today that you hit the floor running, and you're very focused on the things that we need to do to advance our work strategically and in an agile way. So thank you so much. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of our campaign experience and give you some feedback that I think will be of some value, because it says a lot about where we are and where the community is in terms of some of the challenges that we're facing. So the collective efforts of donors and volunteers in Buffalo and Erie County has helped our community get through the pandemic. And thanks to those efforts, United Way and our partners have been able to respond quickly and help more people than ever. In the midst of the pandemic, the United Way achieved total revenues well over $20 million. That included the general campaign, endowment contributions, grant fund management, and investment income. But as you well know, the needs are greater than ever, and there are major challenges in front of us and the entire not-for-profit sector, not just the United Way, given the current environment we are facing. This past year, the workplace has been substantially disrupted by COVID, negatively impacting the economy, with workers displaced, resulting in a significant disruption in United Way's traditional payroll deduction workplace fundraising model. Evidence of the impact COVID had on the 2020 campaign, and Tina will appreciate that as the campaign co-chair last year, included some of the following. Total number of donors were down over 20%. That was a loss of over 6,000 individuals compared to 2019. Overall campaign revenues were also down by over 19%, approximately $2.5 million lower than the prior year. Corporate giving was down 31%, which was not a huge surprise given some businesses suffered significantly due to COVID-19, and employee giving overall was down 19%, also not a surprise with displacement and uncertainty in light of the pandemic. A bright spot, however, was that we did see an increase in individual giving outside of the workplace, both in increased dollars raised and increased number of donors, 12% in both those metrics. As we look to the future, continuing to build our connections and relationships with individuals beyond the workplace is a significant priority for our United Way, and I must admit, for United Ways across the country. All of this work would not be possible, however, if we did not have committed fundraising volunteers running successful campaigns year after year on behalf of the United Way, regardless of the external environment we are facing. Back in August, we did take time to recognize some of these key volunteers and organizations at what we refer to as our 2020 Community Champions Awards virtual event. And I'd like to take a moment just to highlight our honorees once more. We were thrilled to announce this past year we had 2 workplace campaigns raise over $1 million each, M&T Bank and Wegmans. We are thankful for the outstanding commitment of these 2 organizations, and we're very pleased to honor them as $1 million campaigns. Secondly, Labor Champion Award went to our meat raffle committee. Those committee members included Deborah Hayes, who's been in the news a lot recently through CWA, Denise Abbott, Julie Kozensa, Jeffrey Brylski, Stephanie McLean, Bethley, and Thomas O'Shea. This group organized the first ever virtual meat raffle on behalf of the United Way, raising over $18,000. And it was a lot of fun for those of you who got a chance to participate in that event. Moving on, our Suburban Schools Champion Award went to Maryvale Union Free School District, and our Eugene Reville Award went to Buffalo Public School 50, which is referred to as North Park Elementary. During one of the most difficult school years ever, as you can imagine, these educational institutions rallied and grew their United Way campaigns in support of our community. Independent Health was a winner of both the Lead with Purpose Cup and the Jacobs Cup. Independent Health saw the needs rising in our community and pulled out all the stops, leading to a 121% increase in their campaign compared to the prior year. That was incredible. Finally, our volunteer champions this year, we're honored that two outstanding women, Sandy Falzone and Joan Bruce from Wegmans, they needed our attention. They needed to be recognized. These two individuals have demonstrated such outstanding commitment to the United Way, one that goes beyond fundraising, impacting the lives of individuals who benefit from United Way programs. We're so thankful for their over 20 years of service. Sandy and Joan truly go above and beyond for our community. Congratulations again to all of our 2020 Community Champion Award recipients. We would also like to take this opportunity to highlight one more special honor, which we will officially celebrate next spring. The Philanthropist of the Year Award recognizes those who are the embodiment of what it means to live united. All our honorees share a deep philanthropic spirit and a history of volunteer efforts. I am so thrilled to announce that Sherry and Dave Hoare are being recognized as 2021 Philanthropists of the Year. And you, our audience, are the first ones to hear this great news beyond Dave and Sherry. They have been incredible in their leadership, their support, and their engagement in our community, not only through the United Way, but through involvement in other not-for-profits, such as Big Brothers, Big Sisters, and beyond. Thank you again, Sherry and Dave. This community is truly better off because of your support and your commitment to the well-being of others. And we look forward to celebrating this honor with you and past philanthropist honorees next year. I'd like to now move on to just highlighting some key accomplishments that we would like to focus on during today's session. And we would obviously be remiss if we not take this opportunity to showcase some of the past practice, performance expectations, and deliverables. So let me start with Go Buffalo Mom. Many of you have heard about this program. They reached a milestone this year with over 500 moms and their babies served since the beginning of the program back in 2019. Additionally, low-income moms in the program have saved over $72,000 in support of transportation and safe housing. In addition, over 10,000 students participated in 60 minutes or more of daily physical activity through our Legacy Play 60 program. We had close to 25,000 children achieve developmentally appropriate language, literacy, math, and social emotional milestones. Over 1,400 parents increased their knowledge and skills in early learning and developmental interventions. The American Apprenticeship Initiative helped over 292 apprentices across 48 employers receive training to become journey workers in high demand trades in the manufacturing sector. We saw over 40 Buffalo Public School students receive career and technical education guidance in high demand, through the Skilled Trades Retiree Mentor Program, something that was newly established. Over 7,700 individuals completed job readiness training last year, and over 1,600 individuals secured employment. And in July, our Work-Life Solutions program reached a milestone as well by responding to over 1,000 employee calls for help and emergency relief. Since launching this program in January of 2019, the program, I'm happy to report, has provided over 332 loans to employees for emergency relief. That's a total of over $328,000 loaned to employees to help them overcome non-work related issues with the help of Evans Bank. More than half of all work-life solution loans were given to employees who live in high-need zip codes. This is just a sampling of the work that the United Way, our donors, volunteers, and advocates, and corporate not-for-profit partners have made possible over the past year. Complete details of United Way key accomplishments for the past year can be found in our Community Impact Report, our most recent report, which is going to be shared shortly. Now let me move on to a new initiative that we're really excited about, and hopefully a number of you on the call have already started hearing about Prosperity. So Prosperity, which you should, as I said, be hearing about, it's a new nonprofit digital marketplace designed to help working households who are living paycheck to paycheck. United Way is partnering with Prosperity Digital Marketplace to bring this innovative new program to our community. Buffalo is one of 3 markets for this program, which launched in our community to consumers on Friday, November 5th. The other sites include the United Way of Western Connecticut and the United Way of Central Ohio. Prosperity connects income eligible people, including many essential workers, with support, services, and discounts tailored to their needs. Too often, lower income households struggle to get by, yet are ineligible for federal and state safety net programs. Prosperity provides a simple and trustworthy way for these hardworking families to connect with and the help in one place, respecting their limited time and offering dignity and confidentiality as they access these services and supports. Here in Erie County, as many of you know, over 40% of households may not be able to afford life's basic necessities. This includes both 13% of households that fall below the federal poverty level, as well as 27% of households that United Way identifies as ALICE, asset limited, income constrained, employed individuals and families. ALICE households are often invisible in conversations about who is struggling in our community. Prosperity is an example of a non-traditional United Way program meant to directly serve this often overlooked group of people in our community, people who are working hard but still struggling to make ends meet. The Prosperity Digital Marketplace not only helps lower income households stretch their budget, it also helps grow our local economy by promoting businesses that serve communities throughout Erie County. And for business owners, joining the Prosperity platform is an opportunity for them to do well while doing good. The businesses on the platform offer a discounted service or a product to assist low to moderate income households or customers, while also gaining visibility as a community-minded, socially responsible business. Some of the discounts, like discounts for car repairs, a free haircut, reduced dental fee, are just some examples of these discounted services that are going to be offered. With up to 40% of households living paycheck to paycheck in Erie County, and percentages approaching 60% or higher in certain zip codes within Buffalo, Lackawanna, and Cheektowaga, we expect businesses and business partnerships with us will expand their customer base and bring their products and services to those who need it most. Prosperity is also a way for nonprofits to provide services and support to low-income workers 24/7, who often cannot connect with these agencies during the workday. It provides time-saving, one-stop shopping, so there is more time for what matters most. Programs that serve ALICE-eligible individuals and families are featured on the platform to provide additional resources, making it easy to find discounts and program supports in one place. Additionally, Prosperity is a valuable tool for the clients of not-for-profit programs, as I mentioned earlier. And we would like to show a very brief video to give you a little sampling or perspective of what the platform will look like. Jen?
We see you, getting back to school and work routines, the new normal. But normal still means living paycheck to paycheck for 40% of Americans. You're not alone. Prosperity is here for you. Brought to you by your local United Way. This new marketplace brings local services and offers together, tailored just for you. Check out these discounts and programs designed for your family, all in one place. It's an easy-to-use website with free membership, saving you time for what matters most. Browse your special offers at prosperity.org today.
Thank you, Jen. This very brief video is just to give you a taste of what the opportunity looks like if you're a consumer and you're looking for discounted services because you're having financial challenges. Being able to go to a portal like this and just select from those options, those opportunities, is not only fun, it's good for the family's bottom line. And so we think this is the right thing to do. And we're excited to report that there are over 36 businesses and not-for-profits locally that have already engaged and committed to posting these types of service and discounted opportunities. And nearly 100 organizations across the country are also offering discounts on products and services like auto maintenance, repairs, groceries, utilities, health and financial services, and family fun, as well as nonprofit resources and supports. So to make this pilot program a success and build financial stability across Erie County, we're looking to continue to build this base of business and not-for-profit partners. We also are looking for your help in promoting the platform with Alice consumers in our community. So you can connect with us through prosperity.org and be part of this innovative new initiative. It's also worth noting that Prosperity is a wonderful example of how United Way combines the power of a global network with local expertise to provide innovative support to an often overlooked group of people in our community, which has become a very high priority for our United Way here locally. So we're doing good on time, and I just have in some concluding remarks, then we'll go to a Q&A. As we reach the conclusion of our time together and move into this next session, our hope is that you will view today's program as more than just a look back. We hope you will see it as an invitation to be part of a brighter future together. After all, we all need to be optimistic in light of the external environment we're in. We're all very stressed and we're all very challenged, but this is an opportunity for us to collectively work together, support one another, and think about the future. With your collaboration and support, we can help every person have an equal opportunity to succeed. Now more than ever, we need to live united. Thank you, and I'm going to hand it back to Jen to facilitate a brief Q&A, and then we'll get you on your way. Jen?
Thank you, Michael. So we'll move into a short question and answer period. And as a reminder, if you'd like to submit a question for our panelists, you can use that Q&A tool at the bottom of your Zoom screen to submit your question. So hopefully we'll get a few questions from our audience. We'll try to address as many as we can. If that Q&A feature isn't working for you, you can also type it in the regular chat if that is easier. I know sometimes different features can be different for different people. I don't have anything in the main queue yet, so I will throw out a question for our team. What is the best way to learn more about some of the things we have talked about today?
Well, I should tip that over to you, Jen, because you coached me on this, but the answer to the question is we have a community impact report we issue each year. It's now available online. I think Jen's already posted it. You can go to uwbec.org/annual report. And the community impact report is going to highlight a lot of the things that we talked about today, but inundate you with a lot more data as well. And so please take a look at it that way. And look for a link to this report and other initiatives mentioned today, which will be available through a follow-up that I believe Jen's going to take care of as well. And then the other thing that I would mention for those of us that are active with social media, you're probably already seeing a lot of this content being posted on social media. We've been doing a lot of that work in partnership with our marketing team, and we've been getting a lot of reactions to and positive sentiments about a lot of these initiatives as well. So hopefully, Jen, I've covered your base on this one.
Absolutely. I do have another question that has come into the queue. It says, what are the forecasted giving numbers for United Way in the new year? I'll let Michael, if you feel comfortable jumping in to talk about that, or Jamie or Tina, if you have any comments on that as well. We'll answer that one live.
I'll give the 5,000 foot level, and then, but I would love for our co-chairs of the campaign to weigh in, and Trina as well. We actually are, we developed our budget this year based on a more optimistic bottom line campaign than the prior year. We're hopeful, but we don't have assurances that that's what we will end up with. So I don't want to make any promises that we can't keep, but we have an air of optimism here. Some companies that were not able to make corporate gifts, for example, or have their workforce back at work, are now back in full operation, and they've already made corporate gift commitments to us, as an example. So we're looking at this as something that we can achieve and turn around year over year, but a lot will depend on what happens tomorrow, what happens next week, and what happens next month. Those are things that we can't control for, but I do want you to know that the budget process that is driven by an aspirational goal for our campaign is one that's looking in a more positive direction. My colleagues, how do you want to weigh in here as well?
So Michael, thanks for kicking it over. I think for me, the answer is that money that we will dole out largely depends on you, the members of our community that are going to help us to have a successful campaign, to help encourage your friends, your family, your neighbors about the importance of the work that's being done by United Way, not just the money that will go out in the investment process, but also that work that we talked about throughout our presentation that the United Way does itself to help bring to light the work that many of you are doing in our community.
I'm gonna jump in. I've got a swollen jaw, as some of you can see, so I haven't been talking oral surgery today. But I just want to dovetail on what Trina just said. If you watched the news a couple of weeks ago, we did a big media blitz on the front lawn of the United Way, and the theme was "Show Up United." We can't do this. You know, Jamie and I are out there. We're working hard. I did a campaign kickoff this morning, and the theme is the same. We have to show up united. We have to do this together for our community. You know, we can't do it alone. So I'll go back to being quiet and let my jaws, let my swelling go down. But show up.
Jamie, anything from your end?
I don't think I have much more to add than what you guys have shared. I'll compliment Tina on what she said. We achieved this together. There are no donations too big or too small. There's no organizations too big or too small to run a campaign. So whether you're an employee or an employer, I would urge you to consider running a campaign if you're not already. Friends, family, your network of encouraging other businesses and continuing to increase our individual contributions that Michael spoke to earlier. So it is what Tina said, it is us showing up together united, and we'll achieve this collectively together.
Thank you, Jamie. There's two other things that I would just add. Diversifying our financial portfolio is something that we've given high priority to over the years that I've been here. And I would say it's not only about how we do from a fundraising standpoint. It's about grant acquisition. It's about how we manage the resources that we have, where we have opportunities to leverage outside of workplace giving. We're giving higher priority than ever before to engaging individuals outside of the workplace. I think a good example of that, when Trina and I and Jamie went down the M&T Plaza building through Over the Edge and Repelled, it was a very promising fundraising effort, peer-to-peer fundraising effort, but it is the kind of thing that maybe we need to continue to do because it helps us gain new partners, meet new people that may be interested in supporting our community through United Way and other charitable organizations. And it is something that may be part of our future that we need to continue to stay mindful of. The other thing that I would like to just add that you could be helpful with everybody on this call, and it gets back to what Trina and Tina were referring to earlier, a lot depends on the work that you could do to help support fundraising. And one of the most important ways that you could help us is by making sure that your audiences know the value that we bring to the community. It may not be about whether somebody fills out a pledge card or not, as much as it is knowing the contributions and the value that we're bringing to the community, because that invariable will lead to a positive outcome where somebody, if they may not make a financial commitment, they'll raise their hand and say, I want to volunteer, or I want to be helpful in terms of committee work or whatever. And sometimes that helps create a new relationship that eventually leads to a fundraising outcome as well. So I just wanted to share that as well, because if I learned anything about the time I've been here at the United Way, everybody knows the brand United Way. They've heard it referenced many times before. But when you ask people what they really know about the work that we're doing in the community, kind of impact we're having and the like, people are less informed in that regard. And that's where you could help us take that banner and help promote the value that we're bringing to the community. So I'm going to stop there.
I also want to mention we have a lovely shout out in the chat for Heather Quigley, part of our fundraising team, for doing an amazing job of getting that message out about the work of United Way and helping increase that understanding out at Univera. So thank you, Olivia, for that shout out, and thank you, Heather, for all that you do to carry the standard of our brand. We have another question in the Q&A. What impact will the current federal legislation have on our community and the efforts of United Way to support our vulnerable communities? Maybe, Michael, that's probably you, yeah.
Yeah, initially I was going to just jump in and respond, but I guess I need a clarifying point first. There's so much new federal legislation out there. I'm not sure what the author of that question is really asking. I mean, I could respond from an American Rescues Act, CARES Act perspective, or maybe it has something to do with vaccination requirements. I'm not sure. So if we could flesh out a little bit more rather than my just generally responding, I would like to say that in general, I think the federal legislation has been a game saver for families in a variety of different ways, and it really helped our community significantly. But that may not be the specific focus of the question.
All right, well, it was Anne-Marie Orlowski who asked the question. Anne-Marie, if you're still with us and are able to pop into the chat or into the Q&A, a little more background about your question. While Anne-Marie is taking a minute to do that, I did want to take the time to mention, and we mentioned this earlier in our programming, that right now we are running a voter voice campaign online, which is a way for all of our partners to quickly and easily advocate to your Congress members, your representatives, for the EITC and CTC Earned Income Tax Credit and Child Tax Credit extending the expansion that has happened, advocating for 211, and also advocating for extending nonprofit tax credits. So that you'll see that coming up in our social media, and we're advocating for, or we're promoting that advocacy campaign, and that'll be in our follow-up thank you email as well.
Since I know Anne-Marie very well, I think I have some sense of maybe where that question may be going, but I'll respond accordingly, and it may or may not be on target, but from a federal legislation standpoint, public policy standpoint, charitable giving legislation needs to change. We've been strongly advocating for elevating the level of contributions that will be tax deductible. As you may well know, it changed dramatically several years ago and went down to like $300 maximum per household. And so there is some new federal legislation out there now, and we're advocating for it to even be higher than what is being proposed, because we believe it's a win-win. And so the voter voice is an opportunity for you to weigh in and share your sentiments about what you think is a valuable change in the charitable deduction provision, because quite frankly, there's a very positive correlation between what people give and what the tax laws allow for. So I took a guess. I hope I was on target.
Yes, Anne-Marie did chime back in to say, thank you for clarifying current infrastructure and related Build Back Better federal legislation. But she also said, yes, thank you, because I think she was excited about the fundraising part too. So if that adds any context that you want to expand on, current infrastructure and related Build Back Better federal legislation.
Well, I don't think, with regard to infrastructure, the one thing that's a takeaway from me that I would want to highlight, and then I'm going to stop there, is technology and better access to, internet. And that is a big feature within the administration's vision of improving access. It helps learning, it helps navigation of health and human services, and it's the right thing to do. But beyond that, I'm not sure I want to comment on bridge construction and new roads and all these climate control and things like, because that's well beyond our focus for this audience and relative to the work that we do in the community. So I think I'll stop there. I don't know if anybody else wants to chime in, Trina, or anybody else.
No, I think you covered it, Mike. Thank you.
I was able to find the link for that voter voice campaign I just mentioned, and I popped that into the chat as well. Okay, it looks like we have worked our way through the questions in the queue. Before we end our program, I'll ask if anyone else has any burning questions that they want to get out there before we wrap up for the night. We'll give it just a quick pause. Okay, thank you so much for spending this part of your evening with us. This is such an important opportunity for us to report out every year about our progress and what's next for us. And so we really appreciate everyone that has joined us today. Thank you and have a fantastic evening.
Thanks, Jen.
Thank you, everybody.
Good night.
Thanks, everybody. Really appreciate everybody being on this call. Thank you, panelists. Really appreciate that as well.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody.
Take care, everybody.